Payal was a kind and lovely girl who lived in a small village. She was 20 years old and stayed with her parents. Everyone in the village liked her because she was gentle and caring. Near the village, there was a big, thick forest. People called it the Haunted Forest. Many stories were told about strange things happening there. People said the forest was dangerous and no one ever went inside. Payal loved nature. She enjoyed sitting near the forest, watching the tall trees and listening to the birds. She often wondered, why do people say this forest is scary? It looks so beautiful from here. Her curiosity grew day by day. One morning she decided, I will go and see the forest myself. I want to know the truth. She didn't tell anyone about her plan. She packed her bag with a bottle of water, some food, and a torch. As the sun rose, she walked toward the forest. At the edge, she stopped for a moment. The tall trees looked dark and mysterious. She took a deep breath and stepped inside. The forest was magical. The air was cool, and birds sang sweet songs. The sunlight made patterns on the ground as it passed through the leaves. Payal smiled and thought, this forest is not scary at all. People must be wrong. She walked deeper into the forest, enjoying its beauty. But after some time, she felt strange, as if someone was watching her. She stopped and looked around, but there was nothing. Maybe it's just my imagination, she said to herself. She continued walking, but soon she heard a noise. It sounded like dry leaves crunching behind her. Payal turned around and her eyes widened in shock. A huge gorilla was standing there. It was very tall and strong, with glowing eyes. Payal froze in fear. She thought it might attack her, but the gorilla didn't move. It just stood there, staring at her. Payal tried to step back slowly, but the gorilla stretched its long arms, blocking her path. She felt very scared, but tried to stay calm. She said softly, "What do you want? Please don't hurt me." Suddenly, a deep voice filled the air. It was not coming from the gorilla, but it seemed to echo all around her. The voice said, "To free me, you must give up your most precious thing." Payal was confused. "Free you? What do you mean? And what is my most precious thing?" she asked. The voice said, "You must find it in your heart. Only then can I be free." Payal thought about her family. She loved her parents more than anything, but they were not with her. So what could she give? She looked down at her bag. Inside she had water, food, and her torch. But none of these felt special enough. Then she touched her neck and remembered the locket she always wore. Her mother had given her the locket when she was a little girl. It had her childhood picture inside and was very special to her. Payal realized this was her most precious thing. Tears filled her eyes as she held the locket in her hand. She walked to a small pond nearby. The water was clear and calm. Payal said, "If this locket can free you, I will let it go." With shaking hands, she dropped the locket into the pond. As soon as the locket touched the water, the pond began to glow. Bright light spread all around. Payal turned to see the gorilla. It roared loudly and its body started to change. Its fur disappeared and its shape became smaller. In moments, the gorilla turned into a young man. The man looked about 30 years old. He had kind eyes and a sad smile. Tears rolled down his cheeks as he said, "Thank you, Payal. You have saved me. I was cursed a long time ago because of my greed. I became a gorilla and was trapped in this forest. Only someone pure of heart could free me, and you did it." Payal felt happy but also sad about losing her locket. She said, "I am glad I could help you. Everyone deserves a second chance." The young man introduced himself as Arun. He told her about his life before the curse. He had been a selfish man who cared only about gold and power. One day he made a mistake that brought the curse upon him. "I have been waiting for someone like you for so many years," and he said, "Now I can go back to my life and live with kindness and honesty." Payal and Arun walked out of the forest together. When they reached the village, everyone was amazed to see Arun. They asked Payal what had happened, but she just smiled and said, "It's a long story." From that day, the haunted forest was no longer scary. The villagers stopped telling frightening stories about it. Payal became a hero in the village, but she never let it make her proud. She learned that true courage is about helping others, even if it means letting go of something you love. And Arun? He started a new life in the village, helping people and sharing his story. Pyle and Arun became good friends and often reminded each other of the lessons they had learned. Together, they showed everyone that kindness, bravery, and selflessness could change the world.